Hi students, today we are going to discuss about the principles that are involved in UV visible spectroscopy. Okay, the learning outcome would be the principle of UV visible spectroscopy. We'll come to know what is electronic transition, absorption and intensity shifts, and the terms involved in UV visible spectroscopy. So first of all, let us compare different spectroscopy. As I already mentioned in previous lecture that we have different energy level like rotational, vibrational and electronic energy level. So depending upon where the transition takes place, the spectroscopy also will differ. If the transition is in between the rotational energy level, it will result in microwave or rotational energy level. And if there is transition in vibrational energy level, it results in IR. And if there is transition in electronic energy level, it results in UV visible or electronic transition or spectroscopy. But the condition for rotational energy level is like the molecules or atoms should possess dipole moment. Example like hydrochloric acid or HCl. Homoatom will not possess dipole moment, only heteroatoms will possess. So they can exhibit microwave spectrum. And for vibrational energy level, the condition is that there must be change in dipole moment that could be achieved by change in bond length or bond angle, and that will be the resultant of either bending or stretching, etc. Okay, and the electronic energy level or UV visible or electronic spectroscopy will be the resultant of the compounds possessing sigma or pi or n electrons. So whichever compounds have sigma electrons or pi electrons or n electrons, they can exhibit electronic spectroscopy or UV visible spectroscopy, because there will be transition from sigma to sigma star or pi to pi star or n to sigma star or n to pi star. So these are the basic criteria of different spectroscopy. So first of all, let us see what exactly happens in UV visible spectrum. Actually, the UV visible spectrum, it ranges in between 100 nanometer to 400 nanometer, which is part of UV, and the visible radiation, the region is 400 to 800 nanometer. We also have near UV region and far UV region. So the near UV region ranges in between 200 nanometer to 400 nanometer, and far UV region, it will be below 200 nanometer. And far UV spectroscopy is studied under vacuum condition. The common solvent used for preparing sample to be analyzed is either ethyl alcohol or hexane. So this is the range of UV as well as visible spectroscopy. So from 100 to 400 we have ultraviolet, and from 400 to 780 we have visible region. This visible region is visible for a human eye, so it ranges from violet to red, which we generally call it as VIBGYOR. So ultraviolet, visible, infrared. Visible will have blue to red. Let us see what exactly happens in electronic transition. As I already mentioned that the compounds can possess sigma electrons, pi electrons and n electrons. Sigma electrons will present in saturated compounds, and pi electrons will present in unsaturated compounds, and n electrons, non-bonding electrons or lone pair of electrons will be present in compounds which have nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, etc. So here what happens is the transition can take place. We have actually bonding as well as anti-bonding orbital. So the transition can take place from sigma bonding orbital to sigma antibonding orbital, or pi bonding orbital to pi antibonding orbital, or n non-bonding orbital to either pi bonding or sigma antibonding orbitals. So the transition will be sigma to sigma star, pi to pi star, n to sigma star, n to pi star, sigma pi star and pi to sigma star. what exactly happens is, like some of the transitions, it will not obey the rules. If they're not obeying the rules, it will be considered as forbidden transition. So here, the first four will be allowed transition and fifth and sixth will be forbidden transition because they don't obey the rules. So first one is sigma to sigma sort transition. I already told you like this will be present in saturated compounds like methane. So it will transit from sigma to sigma star, from sigma bonding orbital to sigma antibonding orbital, and which occurs at 125 nanometer. Pi to pi star transition can take place in unsaturated compounds which has pi electrons like alkenes, alkynes, carbonyl, nitriles, aromatic compounds, etc. And alkenes generally observe in the region of 170 to 205 nanometer. Then N2 sigma star transition can take place where we have lone pair of electrons, and this is possessed by an atom like oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur and halogens, which are capable of the transition N to sigma star. And these transitions usually require less energy than sigma to sigma star transitions. The number of organic functional groups with the N to sigma star peaks in the UV region is small, that is 150 to 250 nanometer. Next is N2 pi star transition. An electron from non-bonding orbital is promoted to antibonding pi star orbital. Here, the compounds containing both double bond as well as the unpaired electrons or lone pair of electrons can exhibit this. And this N to pi star transition require minimum energy and show absorption at lower wavelength around 300 nanometer. The sigma to pi star and pi to sigma star transition, they are forbidden transition. So UV spectrum is of only a few broad of absorption. Now let us see some terms which are involved in UV visible spectroscopy. We have two terms mainly like chromophores and auxochromes. And chromophores are responsible for color. Okay, chromo means color, phore means color causing compound or group. Okay, so the part of molecule responsible for imparting color are called as chromophores. The functional group containing multiple bonds are capable of absorbing radiations above 200 nanometer due to N to pi star or pi to pi star transitions. They are called as chromophores. Okay, so for a compound to be colored, it should definitely possess double bond or unsaturation. It will have these many or any one of these groups like NO2 and double bond O, carbonyl group, cyano group, etc. Example, acetone which has lambda max at 279 nanometer and cyclohexane has lambda max 291 nanometer. And as the number of double bonds increases, we call it as conjugation. See, we have alternate double bond, single bond, then a single bond, double bond. Okay, as conjugation increases, the lambda max also will vary. Say for example, 1,5-hexadiene has lambda max 178 nanometer, whereas 2,4-hexadiene has lambda max 227 nanometer. Then the conjugation of C double bond C and carbonyl group shifts the lambda max of both groups to longer wavelength. These are some of the things which exist in nature, which are naturally colored. In tomato, we have lycopene. See the structure, we have conjugation, alternate single bond and double bond, which is responsible for the red color, red pigment in tomatoes. And lutein, it is responsible for yellow pigmentation in egg yolks. Here also we have conjugation. And carrots, we have beta carotene. An orange pigment is present in carrots. Next comes auxochromes. These are the functional groups attached to a chromophore which modifies the ability of the chromophore to absorb light, altering the wavelength or intensity of the absorption. So they will intensify the color, but they will not be responsible for color. Okay, by adding these groups, say for example, benzene, the lambda max is 255 nanometer. We can add OH group to this so that its lambda max is shifted to 270 nanometer. And if NH2 group is attached to benzene, its lambda max is shifted to 280 nanometer. So oxochromes, they shift the lambda max and they intensify the color. Now there will be change in intensity as well as wavelength, and let us see which are responsible for this shift. We have four different shifts like bathochromic shift, hypsochromic shift, hypochromic shift, and hypochromic shift. First of all, what is bathochromic shift? This is otherwise known as red shift. When absorption maxima of compound shifts to a longer wavelength, it is called as bathochromic or red shift. This is due to the presence of an oxochrome or by the change of solvent. The oxochrome can be like hydroxyl group or methoxy group, etc. And bathochromic shift we could also see in paranitrophenol. In alkaline medium, paranitrophenol shows red shift because the negatively charged oxygen delocalizes more effectively than the unshared pair of electrons. Second one is hypsochromic shift or blue shift. When absorption maxima of compound shifts to a shorter wavelength, it is known as hypsochromic shift or blue shift. This is due to the presence of a group that causes removal of conjugation or by the change of solvent. And next one we could see in aniline. Aniline shows blue shift in acidic medium. It loses conjugation. And hypochromic shift, when absorption intensity of a compound is increased, it is known as hyperchromic shift. If oxochrome introduces to the compound, the intensity of the absorption increases. So pyridine, we have 257 nanometer, whereas 2-methylpyridine, it is 260 nanometer. The last one is a hypochromic shift. When absorption intensity of a compound is decreased, it is known as hypochromic shift. In naphthalene, the epsilon is 19,000, whereas in 2-methyl naphthalene, the epsilon is 10,250. So all the shifts are mentioned here. If it is towards red, it is red shift or bathochromic. If it is to, like here you see the wavelength increases. If the wavelength increases, it is red shift. If the wavelength decreases, it is blue shift. And if the absorbance increases, intensity increases, it is hyperchromic shift. If the intensity decreases, it is hypochromic shift. To conclude, we discussed about the principles of UV visible spectroscopy, the electronic transition, absorption and intensity shifts, and the terms involved in UV visible spectroscopy. Thank you.